Good morning, hello and welcome to ET Now's the newspaper show with me, Varun Hirimat. Before we go any further this morning, let me say it's needless to remind you that the newspapers are completely safe. Any rumors circulating about the newspapers being a source of contamination or spread for the COVID-19 virus are completely false. So if you are interested in getting your paper delivered to your residence, please go to wantmypaper.com and explore the options available for newspaper delivery at your residence. But with that being said, let's get a move on to the top 10 stories of this morning. Beginning with the fact that the economy is set to contract by 4.5% in FY21, says the IMF. Beijing seeks clarity on imports under check. E-commerce companies seek time to comply with display rules. All Chinese cargo is being checked amid risk alert. The CCI okays Facebook Geo Platforms deal. Bharti Infratel defers Indus merger yet again. Daughter accepted as SP Hinduja's legal friend. No nod to Patanjali for COVID cure, says Ayush Ministry. Google may launch SME lending on Pay platform. And finally, Maharashtra okays film shooting but tweaks norms a little bit. Moving forward to the corporate stories for this morning, you have autos steering toward rural markets to reap more. Co-op banks brought under RBI supervision. AirAsia's move to exit India JV may hit a hurdle. Liquor companies are beginning to come back slowly. And Blackstone sells 8.7% in Embassy REIT for $300 million. Okay, let's also look at the market stories. India's most costly among the big global peers. Dow S&P 500 down 2% as virus fears mount. Franklin investors get part investment back. Morgan Stanley starts coverage on D-Mart. And gold crosses 50,000 on recovery worries. Alright, those were the broader headlines for this morning. Now let's get story specific. Page 1 of the Economic Times this morning. Beijing has sought clarity from Delhi on imports from China getting stuck as they were being subjected to 100% examination. Domestic industry lobby groups have complained that the resultant supply chain disruption comes at a bad time as companies are reopening after the lockdown. The development comes amid anti-Chinese sentiment in the wake of the border hostilities. India, which is moving to bar Chinese firms from central and state government projects, had already been taking steps to cut dependence on imports from that country as part of a self-reliance drive. So that's quite self-explanatory. Do have a read, page 1 of the Economic Times. Moving forward, it seems that ET reports that China has brought back the tent-like structure that Indian troops had destroyed on June 15 near Patrol Point 14 in the Galwan Valley. So the structure has been re-erected. Sources say that Indian troops have physically verified the reappearance of a tent, and this has been spotted in fresh satellite imagery as well. So it'll be really key to look out for that. Some tension definitely beginning to brew on the border yet again. Alright, coming back again to the front page of the Economic Times, India's top internet commerce companies, including the likes of Flipkart and Amazon, have sought time from the centre to ensure that all products sold on their platforms display the country of origin label. So now we're getting really serious about Make in India, and companies also want to show that they are being compliant. Okay, let's take it over to Vinny now, who's with us. Good morning, Vinny. Welcome to the show. It seems that the Tata Group may eliminate jobs at some businesses to save fixed costs as it grapples with failing profits due to the pandemic, and global economic projections pointing to a challenging time ahead. So this is from page 11 of the newspaper, Times of India. It seems that Vinny is not with us this morning. But basically, those of you that follow the stock market and the Tata Group companies, you would have heard of fundraising in Tata Motors, fundraising in JLR. You would have heard about group restructuring at the most recent board meet which happened, where the promoters came out and said that they can adequately support the company, that they will not be looking to sell off assets, but cash flows are definitely an issue. So now you're seeing that the Tata Group may be looking at some further cuts for employees as a part of their cost-cutting measures. So do have a read of this one, page 11 of the Times of India. Okay, switching gears from the Tata Group companies to the cooperative banks. The Cabinet has approved an ordinance to bring cooperative banks under RBI supervision, which they previously were not. Also cleared was a year-long interest subvention scheme for micro borrowers and a 15,000 crore fund for animal husbandry. So cooperative banks are now brought under RBI supervision. 1,482 urban, 58 multi-state co-op banks will fall under this new directive. RBI's powers on scheduled banks will apply on co-op banks as well, so it will be treated like a regular scheduled commercial bank, and the proposal has been announced in the budget this year. So do have a read. That was on page 8 of the Economic Times, in case you're interested. All right, we all had heard from the big IMF hearing that was there yesterday. Geeta Gopinath was addressing the world and spelling out the IMF's latest projections, and there was just a lot of negative information flow. The growth forecasts have been trimmed further, and it looks like our GDP may be declining a lot more than we initially thought. But Poonam's now with us. Good morning, Poonam, and she's going to bring us more on this story.
Well, the IMF now sees India economy to contract by nearly around 4.5% in FY21. This is versus their most optimism forecast of nearly around 1.9% growth in the month of April. They now expect for a huge contraction in terms of the Indian economy on account of the severe lockdown and the potential job losses, and of course the slowdown in terms of the economic recovery. They do see India economy to in fact grow nearly around 6% in FY22. This is versus the earlier forecast of growth of 7.4%. In fact, most of the rating agencies as well as the economists do see India economy to contract 3 to 5% in FY21. They also believe that in countries like India, which have limited scope in terms of the fiscal spending, government should in fact make the social programs far more long lasting so as to help and address inequality as well as poverty. They do believe that the fiscal spending should include huge wide scope healthcare services also in countries like India, which have limited fiscal space. In terms of the world economy, IMF now sees a contraction of 4.9% in 2020 versus an earlier expectation of 3% contraction. They do expect the recovery to be gradual, as well as that the consumption will only gain gradually.
All right, thanks for that, Poonam. Looks like the economic outlook is quite bleak as of now. But moving forward to automakers, Maruti Suzuki, Hyundai Motor India, Mahindra & Mahindra and Hero Motor Corp and other automakers as well are turning to rural markets to rev up their sales after the lockdown. Green shoots, car makers see faster demand recovery in villages that have fewer COVID-19 cases and have seen a bumper harvest this year due to good Kharif sowing as well as a very good monsoon forecast. So automakers are now, like I said, focusing towards the rural markets. They believe the demand uptick will be quicker in the villages. More government spending will also put more money in the hands of the rural economy, and good monsoon will definitely aid sentiment. So the focal point for the auto industry is moving away from the urban area and to the rural area, based on what the newspaper is saying this morning. All right, Franklin Templeton, we heard about the big problems that happened there. Various schemes and funds were shut down, but it now seems that some investors may be getting some partial portion of their investments out of there. Jayesh, who tracks these companies very closely, is with us. Good morning, Jayesh. Welcome to the show. Is there any reprieve for Franklin investors?
Good morning, Varun. Rightly mentioned by you that there is some respite coming in ahead for the Franklin India Mutual mutual fund investors because they have received about 1,964 crores in various plans that they had, initially sought to shut down. Now, this is two of these schemes undergoing the winding up process have now become surplus, surplus cash. So, that is good news coming in as far as the Franklin India investors are concerned. What had actually happened on 23rd of April was that Franklin had decided to wind up 6 of its debt schemes as it believed that the market will not return to normalcy soon because of the COVID disruption. Because of this, there is a lot of hue and cry going on, and the Supreme Court had in fact directed the transfer of all the petitions related to this particular mutual fund shutting down 6 of its schemes from the various high courts to the Karnataka High Court. Now, the e-voting and the unit holders meet of all the 6 schemes cannot be conducted until the stay order has been issued by the Gujarat High Court. That is vacated. So, we'll have to wait and watch what exactly happens. But so far, there has been positive news because nearly 2,000 crores have come back into the kitty of Franklin India, which means that, some of the investors would likely get some of their money back at least.
All right, thanks for that, Jayesh. And definitely some relief coming in for those Franklin investors. But okay, let's move forward. Google is in focus today. The Economic Times reports that technology behemoth Google will roll out a credit feature for small and medium enterprises on its payment platform Google Pay. This is huge. You'll be able to get essentially borrowings from Google Pay. In partnership with top Indian lenders, will go live by year end and help over 3 million verified merchants avail instant credit on their Google Pay app if the bank partners deem them credit worthy. So banks will be making the decision as to whether these guys qualify for loans or not, but if they do, Google Pay will go ahead and make credit available. So that's definitely a first for us here in India. Not even Paytm or there's no other payment platform which currently offers credit. So a good one to look out for. Okay, moving forward to ISRO. India has set up a new organization to provide private enterprises a level playing field in building satellites and rockets and launch them using its space agency's infrastructure. ISRO will handhold, promote and guide private industries in space activities through a friendly policy and regulatory environment. It will focus more on building new technologies, human spaceflight programs and deep space missions. This is in page 9 of the Economic Times. Contrary to what many people believe or don't really know, space research in India is far ahead of many other countries in the world and a lot more cost efficient, and hence a lot more of that research is conducted here. We recently figured that out by doing some research for one of our usual projects. So do read that one as well. Economic Times, page 9, ISRO. Okay, Vinny is now finally with us and she's going to be able to walk us through the Tata Group restructuring or story a little better. So good morning, Vinny. Take it away.
As the COVID crisis continues, the Tata Group may look to eliminate jobs of certain of business to save on its fixed costs as it's grappling with the falling profit due to the pandemic, and the global economic projections are pointing toward a challenging time ahead. Now, to save themselves from this, the company is looking to lay off certain employees. Overall, the pandemic has led to a suspension of quite a few of its businesses, like including aerospace, automotive and aviation businesses, which is depressing its earnings in the key market across the world, that is across the globe as well. Now, the Tata Group has already made certain moves to cut contract workers engaged in manufacturing and other functions of various facilities in the Tata Motors, that is in the Jaguar arm. So that is where we already made a move there. But overall also, Tata Group has initiated a cash improvement program of 6,000 crores and £5 billion in its India and UK units. So that is something interesting, and that is something they have already taken a stand on. So now the sources of the company say that they plan to axe jobs at various levels in the domestic business as well. So that is why we'll keep a close eye on what is actually happening and what are the actual numbers of the layoffs in the Tata Group.
Thank you so much for that, Vinny. Definitely an interesting story to keep light of in what's currently happening. Okay. IT returns filing date extension is the next story. So this is the Times of India, page 11, and it affects all of us. In a further relief to taxpayers by extending statutory and regulatory compliance deadlines under the Income Tax Act, which was set to expire by June end. So extensions here are ranging from 1 to 3 months to reduce the hardships of taxpayers, to also give breathing time to officers. Returns for July 31st and October 31st have been extended till November. So at least some reprieve coming in there for us taxpayers. Do have a read if you're interested. That's on page 11 of the Times of India. Okay, we're now going to do some COVID examination. This is on the front page of the Times of India, where they're comparing Delhi to Mumbai. And we all know Bombay started out being one of the larger epicenters, and now Delhi is slowly caught up. But Delhi now has the highest number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in India, so it's overtaken Mumbai as the pace of transmission spirals in the nation's capital. Experts say that the spurt in cases in Delhi was mainly on account of increased testing of people. So the testing, we always know Maharashtra was higher. It seems Delhi's caught up, and now that's starting to reflect in their numbers. Their numbers specifically, though, in Delhi have gone up from 5,000 to 19,000 a day. So quite a large increase. So do keep an eye out for that one as well. Okay, we're nearly coming to the end of our show now, winding up. Let's get you the top 5 from the Times of India. Reports PLA set up camp at clash site. India adds a record 17,000 cases in one day. Delhi overtakes Mumbai's COVID count. Maharashtra sees 3,890 cases in a day. And Invest till July claim SOPs in FY21 IT returns.